So I don't know about you, but I've been traveling for a while. Actually, I've probably been traveling my whole life. And a journey to what? I don't know. You know, I guess it's trying to find answers. Everyone's always trying to find answers to life. You know, we always have, we look at the news is negative most of the time, and we look around the world and we go, why this and why that? And so we're all seeking answers. It used to be that, you know, we had experts we could go to. We could go to a doctor or, you know, these experts that had the answers, but a lot of them don't have the answers, so we're still seeking. If you're like me, you're still seeking. Well, I came across a book by David Hawkins, and he's well known for writing a lot of books, and he wrote a book called Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender. And he says that we are looking for something, and so he comes up with all these things that we've tried. Now, you can ask yourself if you tried any of these. I've probably tried most of these. So when upset, you go to a doctor or a psychiatrist, an analyst, a social worker, or an astrologer. You take up religion, you get philosophy, you take the Earhart Seminars training, EST, you tap yourself with EFT, you get your chakras balanced, you try some reflexology, you go for ear acupuncture, you get healed with lights and crystals. Now, some of you may have tried some of these, I know I have, and some of you may be like me, you just keep going further, and he goes on, you meditate, chant a mantra, drink green tea, try the Pentecostals, breathe in fire, speak in tongues, you get centered, you learn NLP, try actualizations, work on visualizations, study psychology, join a Jungian group. Now, if you haven't gotten the answers then, you keep going. You get Rolfed, try psychedelics, get a psychic reading, jog, jazzercise, have cryonics, get into nutrition, anaerobics, because nutrition alone isn't enough, hang upside down, wear psychiatric jewelry, get more insight, biofeedback, gestalt therapy. And when you're done with all of that, you see your homeopath, your chiropractor, your naturopath. You try kinesiology, discover your enneagram type. You get your meridians balanced. You join a conscious raising group, take tranquilizers. If those don't work, you get some hormone shots, try cell salts, have your minerals balanced, pray, implore, beseech. You learn astral projection. Become a vegetarian, or a vegan in my case. Eat only cabbage. I've tried that. Try microbiotics. Go organic. Eat no GMO. Meet up with Native American medicine man. Do a sweat lodge. Try Chinese herbs. Shih Tzu, acupressure, feng shui. You go to India, you find a new guru. You take off your clothes. You swim in the Ganges. You stare at the sun. You shave your head. You eat with your fingers. You get really messy. You shower in cold water. And still, you're having trouble with life. So you try singing tribal chants. Relieve past lives. Try hypnotic transgression. Scream a primal scream. Punch pillows. I've actually done that, and it does work temporarily. Get founders. I don't even heard that. Join a marriage encounter group. I love this. Go to Unity. That's actually one of the things he lists, is going to Unity. So we're in great shape here, folks. People say that people don't know about us. David Hawkins knows about us. You write affirmations, you make a vision board, you get rebirth, you do the tarot cards, you study Zen, you take more courses and workshops, read lots of books, do transactional analysis, get yoga lessons, get into the occult, study magic, take a shamanic journey, sit under a pyramid, prepare for the worst, go on a retreat, try fasting, take amino acids, get a negative ion generator, Join a mystery school. Learn a secret handshake. Try toning. Try color therapy. Try subliminal tapes. And the list goes on and on and on. Take wonder drugs, subscribe to your journals, he goes on, I mean, for pages, lists all these things that we do today to try and get some kind of peace that lasts. Because we all get peace from time to time. We all feel really centered. We all feel like, things are going well, and yet somehow it never seems to last. And, I always said years ago that I thought my whole spiritual journey came to a simple thing of learning to let go. In fact, I had a T-shirt that Chris had given me, and it said, "I finally got a grip when I learned to let go." But I always say that on my epitaph, they were going to write, "She finally let go," because we tend to hold on to things, hold on to the past, hold on to ideas, hold on to all of this. And I have begun to realize the more I try and let go of things, the more it is a constant thing that we do. We constantly have to let go and surrender. And his whole book is about this. It's about all the different levels that we have to surrender in order to find some kind of lasting peace. And this lasting peace is a key to a true spiritual awakening. So there is an author, William James, that wrote a book, Varieties of Religious Experiences. And what he did, he studied all these famous spiritual people that had these amazing spiritual experiences to try and find what was a common element in all of them. And what he found is that first, there was some kind of crisis. When things are going good in our life, we're usually pretty happy. Things are going along really well. Life is good. We're grateful. We practice gratitude. We do our gratitude list. I do one every day. And when things are going well, and then something happens. Now, it could be something external. It could be a war on another part of the world. It could be an illness. It could be the loss of someone. It could be a lot of things. And when those things happen, what they do is we begin to question all that peace and serenity we thought we had. All of a sudden, we're back to one of these methods looking for an answer, because all of a sudden, it's gone. What happened to the serenity? It's gone. And so we have to realize that what he said is, so first is a calamity. The second thing he says is a surrender. They get to a point where they realize they can't do it anymore. They can't do it alone. And once they realize they can't do it alone, that they've had that all they can take and they can't do anymore, what they do is they let go. It could be a religious experience. It may not be a religious experience. And it is in letting go that they get a spiritual awakening, a spiritual experience. And he said the key to knowing whether you've had a true spiritual experience is if it lasts and if you carry it on in your life. So, in other words, we come here to Unity on Sunday, and hopefully you get a message. But do you take that message and live it in your life, or does Monday come and you forget everything you heard on Sunday, unless you happen to look at the tape, and then maybe you remember. So we want to have this kind of spiritual experience, but it requires surrender and letting go. And we don't like to let go. Think about it. We don't want to let go of things. We hold on to things because of memories. We hold on to things because people have told us it's right. And we forget that we are, like the song was that Kyle sang, that God is within us. And that all that stuff that we put on, that we hold on to, keeps us from knowing the truth about who we are. So there's a story of a golden Buddha. And years ago, there was this beautiful golden Buddha in Thailand. And the armies were coming. The enemy armies were coming to invade. And the people knew that the armies would grab this golden Buddha because it was worth so much money. So they wanted to hide its value. And so they took a bunch of mud and sticks and dirt, and they covered the golden Buddha. So it looked like just a statue, like an old, dirty statue of the Buddha. So when the armies came and they saw this Buddha that looked like it had absolutely no value, they left it alone and they continued on. Many years passed. People forgot that this Buddha was a golden Buddha because they had seen it just as it was, filled with dirt and mud and all of that. And one day there were some children playing at the bottom of the statue, and they saw a little glimmer of light, just a little glimmer of light. And they thought, where is that light coming from? And so they started to pick at this Buddha, and they discovered under all that was the golden Buddha. We are all golden Buddhas, folks. We are golden Buddhas, and we have forgotten who we are. You see, we are created in the image and likeness of God. That does not mean like we think, we create God in our image. So we make God vengeful. We make God judgmental. We make God angry. We make God petty. We make God all those things because we've created God in our image. But that's not what we're told. We are created in God's image, meaning all the love and kindness and joy and all those wonderful things that are part of God are part of us. But what happens is, just like the golden Buddha, we forget. Why do we forget? Because things are put on top of us. Our parents tell us things. The world tells us things. School tells us things. All my life, I remember when I was a child, I was told that I was stupid. And I actually got left back when I was in second grade because I had been sick and we had moved, and they said, oh, you can't do third grade, you got to stay in second grade. And anyway, so I got left back, and because in my mind I was stupid. And then I was in high school trying to learn algebra, and you know what? I don't like math. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm one of these anti-math people. I just don't like it. And so I had to learn algebra. Well, it's hard enough knowing addition and subtraction. Now they throw letters in there, and I have to figure out what the answer is. I can't even figure it out without the letters. And so my sister, who was older than I am and very bright, was given the job of tutoring me in algebra. And all I heard the whole time that she was tutoring me was, you are so stupid, you are so stupid, you are so stupid. And so my mind closed. I was stupid. There's no way I was going to learn this algebra. Years later, now I won't take any jobs that have anything to do with math. I won't have anything at all to do with math. The same sister who called me stupid calls me up. I'm living in Miami, and she's in New Jersey, and she said, I read this article that at the University of Miami, they have a class for adults called math anxiety. I wanted to say, the only anxiety I have is what you gave me. But I didn't, because I was trying to make sure that she and I continued to talk. And so I signed up for this math anxiety class. And what we did is we went back to addition. We did addition, we did subtraction, we did multiplication, we did all these things that I had blocked my mind to, and then I found myself liking to do it. Like I'd be adding numbers, not using the calculator, but actually adding numbers, because it was a challenge. And so, but you see, I had been told I was stupid. I had been told I couldn't do math. I had been told that, and so you believe that. Now you take that and you add on a lot of other things. You're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not this, you're not that, and you begin to think, well, I can't do anything right. Now, I know there are some things I can't do. You just had all these music people here. I can't sing. I'm not going to sing for you. It's barely better off for all of you. I'm not going to try and play an instrument because that wouldn't be very good either. So I know I'm not musically talented, but we forget that some people have certain talents. We all have talents. Everybody has talents. They may be different, but everybody has talents. But because of what society has told us all our lives, we begin to forget who we are. And so we have to chip away. We have to chip away at that clay covering that's covering our golden Buddha. So I have a friend who's into gardening. I'm also not a gardener. If you want to kill a plant, give it to me. Don't give me any plant you want it to live, any length of time. So anyway, but she's a gardener. She loves gardening. And one day a neighbor came by and she was like pruning this rose bush. And the neighbor said to her, "Isn't it a shame that you have to prune this bush? It's so beautiful." And she said, "The only way this bush will grow is if I prune it." Folks, life prunes us. Everything that happens to us in life that we see as negative, everything that happens in life that we see as a challenge, everything that happens to us in life that we see as a difficulty, is life or God or whatever you want to call it, pruning away at all the dead stuff that is covering the golden Buddha that is within us. You see, we have to realize that. And David Hawkins in his book goes into a lot of different ways on which to do it. We're going to look at that. But, it's so interesting because we don't realize that sometimes we have to really get to a low before we get to change. So some of you know me, I'm really into movies. Like that's big news if you know me. So I'm watching a movie the other day. I'd seen it already, and I don't know why I decided to watch this movie again, but there's no coincidences. And the movie was Cinderella Man, which is a true story based on William Braddock, which was a fighter back around the Depression. And Russell Crowe plays him. And he's really successful. He's doing really well. He's fighting. He's winning. He's going to be the next heavyweight champion and all of that. And then he gets injured. He breaks his hand. And then the depression happens. And life becomes really bad. And he loses everything. And so it's just him and his wife and his 3 kids. They have no money. They have hardly any food. Their kids are starving. They're making milk from a little milk with a lot of water. And on top of everything, in the middle of winter, their heat gets turned off because they haven't paid the bill. And the wife has to take the children and send them to live with relatives because they can't afford to keep the kids warm and they're getting sick. And James had promised his child that no matter what happened, no matter how bad things got, he would never let those kids leave the family. And so he decides that he has got to do something about it. So now here we have him in crisis. And what happens is something happens. And for him, it was him having to see that his children were sent away. For him to realize, I have to surrender. Now, this is not a religious movie. The surrender does not mean that he gets down on his knees and he prays and the skies open up and he wins $1 million. But what the surrender did was let him become humble enough to go to the people who are in charge of the fighting and ask for enough money so that he could get the electric or the gas turned on so his kids could have heat. And there he is having to humble himself in front of these people that are all still pretty wealthy. And he has gone through this horrible, horrible depletion of his pride to get the money in order to have enough money to turn on the power. And he has to go for relief, which was something he didn't want to do. And, he's trying to get working on the docks, but not every time you get called. But it's those same 3 steps that William James talks about, and there's no religion at all involved. We sometimes have to lose the things that we're comfortable in order to get to the point that we're willing to go to any length in order for us to find a solution. Because we don't do it when we're comfortable. And so I know for myself, what brought this about, which is why I'm doing this series on it, because, life happens. And so, I thought I was really good at letting go of things. I've let go of a lot of things in my life. I have a long list of things I've let go of. But just when you think you've let go of everything, guess what? There's always one more thing, just like James Braddock found. There's one more thing you got to let go of. And so, a couple of years ago, I lost my husband, love of my life, and I thought that was it. That was it. That was what God was asking me to let go of. And then, I had to let go of the church in California, which I loved, and my other job, which I loved, and the place where we lived, which I loved. And so I packed everything up. I got rid of everything, but I packed all my personal belongings and some of Christopher's in my car, and I drove across the United States by myself, which is very interesting because people would say to me, you drove across the United States by people. I was in New Jersey with my car with California plates, and people were stopping me. Did you come across the United States by yourself? I'm like, yeah, I did. And they're like, I'm thinking, it's not that hard. I've been driving since I was 16. I know how to drive. It's so anyway, but I thought I had lost everything. And then I was up in Montreal. I went to Montreal to be the minister there for a couple of months. And the first night I'm in Montreal, folks, the first night I am there, my car gets stolen. And not only does my car get stolen, but the stuff that I didn't have the energy to take out that night was stolen with it. And a lot of the stuff were things that could not be replaced. And and the next day, power went out in the church and my apartment because it was in the church. So I have no car. I've lost a lot of belongings, and now there's no power. Isn't that interesting? There's no power. Guess what? I don't have any power. I said, I have no power. Guess what? I didn't have any power. So I had to realize that one more time, I was asked to let go. And I was sitting there feeling sorry for myself because, I thought I need at least a day to feel sorry for myself, maybe two, feeling really sorry for myself, and all of that, which, of course, they never found the car. By the way, just for your own personal information, do not ever take a car into the city of Montreal. Montreal is the car theft capital of the world. And I was told that by several Canadian crossing guards who told me on the way out of Canada instead of on the way into Canada. Would have been nice had they warned me going to Canada, but they waited till I was leaving Canada. Anyway, so feeling really sorry for myself because no one had told me it was a car theft capital. And I realized, okay, this is just another layer that I am letting go of. And that every time we let go of something, we get closer and closer to that golden Buddha. And it is a lifelong process, folks. It is a lifelong process. So I'm doing a series on this because I really think this is the answer. I think David Hawkins is right. I think that we're going to see that over the next few weeks, how letting go is the solution we're all seeking, but we don't want to really look at it because it's hard. It's not fun. We'd rather go to Unity or become a vegetarian or even a vegan or get tattoos or whatever. Just try something. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So I hope to see you over the next 5 weeks. And it's great being in Savannah. I love Savannah. So I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath, because this is not an easy subject. We want to be spiritual giants, but we don't want to suffer any kind of pain in order for that to happen. But every spiritual giant, everybody that we look up to, that is truly proven in their life that they are that golden Buddha has had to go through a struggle, has had to go through pain, has had to let go of certain things, including maybe thinking of who they are or what they need. And when we let go, we can begin to see that glimmer of light coming through, letting us know that we truly are a golden Buddha, and that our lifetime job is to discover that and chip away at that, and allow ourselves to be pruned so that we may bloom. And so we say, thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.